I know, just like me, you probably look jacked, right? You're going to the gym, you're doing everything right, you're pushing hard, but deep down, every single flipping day, you just wake up tired. Yet again, another day tired, right? And this is so flipping frustrating. So every single day, you have to push so hard, relying on boatloads of coffee, pre workout, hoping essentially that you just wake up the next day refreshed. But no, every single day you just feel tired again, right? And you have to push through the workout, you have to push through the day, you have to push through the work. And at this point, it's just so flipping annoying because just like me, probably, you look fit, you might look fit, but you're feeling terrible, right? It's exhausting and you're trying to do all kinds of routines. You're working pretty hard. You're doing this David Goggins ass stuff. You're using discipline, consistency, all of these years. Maybe even trying clean eating, boatloads of supplements, whatever. But doesn't even matter what you're doing. You still wake up tired. Now, I got stuck in the same cycle, and most of my clients, some of my clients had too. And I knew best how frustrating it is because I stayed stuck for 8 years in this vicious cycle, right? Feeling fit, but still eating clean, eating a lot, right? Working out a lot, and just thinking, okay, I just miss one supplement, right? If I just time the coffee better, or if I just eat slightly more protein, or change my calories or take this supplement, then all of a sudden my exhaustion will be gone, my testosterone will be up, right? Nothing. Literally nothing. I did not even notice any difference, right? And quite frankly, if you function on coffee and then you think I have energy and you stop taking coffee and you have no energy again, you're just patching the symptoms, you're not really doing anything. Now, every morning it was just the same story. Woke up, no energy, brain fog, couldn't focus, right? The fire that used to be in me when I was younger, when I just woke up and boom, ready for the day, just wasn't there, right? And it was so flipping annoying. So after studying pharmaceutical sciences and basically hitting rock bottom because I had to study hard, right? But I also wanted to keep up with my nutrition, with my workout plan, and basically just led me to a downward spiral, right? Because the only thing I knew was just pushing harder instead of actually fixing it. So that didn't work. And once I actually figured it out, right? Once I actually looked at what I was doing and what wasn't working, what was working, I made more progress in a matter of months, right? So this was basically a year prior where looked fit, right? Don't get me wrong, I looked fit. And I think in January, somewhere in January, maybe before that, I figured it out and I found the missing link, right? And this basically solved my tiredness by doing less and how I basically got high T in the process. So in a matter of months, I went from this to this, right? I got my energy back, my digestion became calm and smooth because I always had this random bloating after meals, right? And brain fog and feeling tired, right? Just annoying stuff, right? I wasn't dying from gut issues, but it was just annoying. My brain was on fire, right? Because meaning that like I couldn't sleep at night. So I was wired like this racing thoughts, right? I was just laying in bed, couldn't sleep, right? Waking up in the middle of the night, just annoying stuff, right? But now I got no more energy crashes. The brain fog was back. These racing thoughts were gone. One of the biggest things for me was important is that my libido and confidence came back, right? So here I did look fit, but on the inside I felt trash because the male hormones like the testosterone, that stuff just wasn't present. I wasn't waking up bricked, as they would say, and it's like a very important indicator of your health, right? And I just knew that when I looked in the mirror that it just it just wasn't there. I felt off, right? And the same happened with my client Stein, right? So very disciplined guy. He was working out 6 times a week, eating clean. Like I think he was doing keto, right? He was pretty flipping disciplined, but same stuff. Like he had brain fog, energy crash after every meal. He couldn't even get past 4 or 5 p.m. He had to forsake his passion, so where he loved cooking for family, he loved longboarding, and he just wasn't able to do this. But he didn't want to forsake his health, right? So like a lot of guys nowadays, they are hard performers. They see the importance of keeping your body and sharp, right? Keep your body healthy, but they are getting stuck along the way. And Stein was the perfect example, right? Now we were able to dial in his lifestyle again. So he packed on 2 kgs of muscle. But the most impressive stuff is from here to here, because he was already pretty lean as well, that he doubled his strength. He learned the muscle up, which is like this. I don't know if you're familiar with the muscle up. He learned the muscle up. His brain fog disappeared. His energy crash disappeared. He did not have any crashes, bloating after meals, right? And most importantly, he had energy for hours. So normally he crashed at like 4, right? But now he had energy to do whatever the entire day, right? He cooked for his family, go longboarding, even after workouts, right? So that's what's actually amazing. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can fix the real reason behind why you feel tired and flat, and how you can finally get your energy, focus, and drive back. And by the way, getting high testosterone in the process is like a very easy side effect. So I'm gonna break this down in this video, right? Now, most guys always think that being tired is just how life is now, right? This has to do with age, or they get used to feeling on 50%, and they just need to push through it, sleep an hour extra, or just get used to it, right? And I'm seeing this everywhere, and the saddest thing is that if you are not aware of this, at some point you're just gonna accept it as the new normal, right? So many people have no clue that they're actually living their life on 50% and they're missing out on so much potential, right? Because if your energy is high, if your brain is present, if your body feels strong, you're confident, right, bro, your life is gonna be 10 times better just because you feel great. But the truth is, tiredness, feeling tired, is never the actual cause, right? It's a symptom. And because this symptom just shows that something is off in your system, right? Whether it's your sleep quality, too much stress, your gut health, recovery, testosterone, but until you actually fix the root cause on why you're actually waking up tired, waking up groggy, right? Why you have no energy throughout the day, no amount of caffeine, no amount of naps or supplements will bring your energy back. And I'm going to repeat that. Until you fix the root cause, no amount of caffeine, naps, or supplements will bring your energy back. Now, most people misunderstand one very important thing. So, what you gotta understand is this is essentially our body, right? And I'm gonna talk about your metabolism, which basically means how our body is using the food, sleep, etc. to create energy, right? So, if you remember, there is such a thing as which is called total daily energy expenditures, how our body is burning calories, right? So, the very first place where these calories are going are our organs, right? Our brain, lungs, heart, liver, stomach, intestine, kidneys. This is something we really cannot change a lot. This stays roughly the same. But where things can change, right, is where it goes. So, in a normal situation, our food, the food we consume, is going to be processed by your gut and then turned into ATP, which is the energy produced by our mitochondria, which our cells can use for energy, and which in turn makes you feel less tired, right? So this is basically the normal pathway. But what happens when your internal systems aren't dialed in, right? Your energy, your ATP, as you can see here, is seeping away to diseases, right? So essentially, you have two buckets: the healthy bucket and the disease bucket. And the more ATP flows into the disease bucket, the more tired you will feel, and the more energy your body is going to redirect to the disease bucket, meaning that you will feel more tired. So even though you can sleep 8 hours per night, if you are losing energy for the disease bucket, then you will feel tired no matter on how long you sleep, right? And this symptom in general controls your energy metabolism, your cortisol balance, your testosterone production, sleep quality, recovery, nutrient processing. So when all of these organs are working right, you wake up ready to go, right? You wake up focused, you wake up feeling strong, and you wake up without brain fog, clear headed, ready for the day. So once all of your energy flows into the health bucket, once every internal system is dialed in, you will wake up like an absolute monster, right? But if stress, poor sleep quality, gut issues overload this system, which is very common, even like liver congestion or adrenal fatigue, whatever, your brain flips into the energy conservation mode, right? So that's basically the same way it does when you're sick. So when you're sick, your body upregulates the immune system, which obviously costs energy, right? So when you're sick, most of your energy goes to the disease bucket to fight off the diseases. But nowadays, we have very low grade diseases, meaning that liver congestion isn't a chronic disease, but it is stealing your energy, right? Leaky gut is stealing your energy. If your thyroid doesn't function well, it's stealing your energy. Your diet, your lifestyle, all of these things steal energy from the health bucket, putting it into the disease bucket, meaning that you will wake up like tired, right? So if your cortisol spikes at the wrong time, your testosterone will tank and your sleep will go shallow. And this is a very common cycle, right? So many people nowadays have uh, like a misaligned cortisol rhythm, right? So they wake up in the middle of the night and then they wake up tired in the morning, right? And therefore the testosterone is low because if cortisol is higher and misregulated, your testosterone will be downregulated, right? And your sleep becomes shallow, and down the line, your body just prioritizes survival instead of performance, right? Now, again, I'm showing here that tiredness, feeling tired, is not the cause. It's a warning light of something deeper going on, right? So if you do not identify what is causing it, right? If you don't fix the root cause, no amount of caffeine, naps, or willpower, like pushing harder, will restore this energy, right? So the key here is to restoring the symptoms so that all of your energy flows into the health bucket, not into the disease bucket. So suppose your energy system is not overloaded, right? Then what happens is that your cortisol will rise in the morning, which creates the natural wakeness effect, right? So normally, if you have no alarm clock and if your cortisol rhythm is balanced, you will wake up refreshed in the morning without needing an alarm clock, right? Your testosterone production stays optimal, right? Your sleep cycles hit REM phases and NRM phases for real recovery mentally and physically. Nutrients are properly absorbed and efficiently absorbed, which ensures that there's stable blood sugar levels, so not these glucose and insulin spikes, which makes you crash in the afternoon. And your brain stays sharp and focused all day, right? Meaning that you have stable energy from morning to night with no crashes, right? Faster muscle recovery and as faster strength gains, you have clearer thinking and better decision making, higher drive, motivation, and just your life is going to be easier in general. Because if you're tired, everything is like a battle, and yeah. I mean, you can use all the willpower you want, but if you're just tired, it just takes so much extra effort. And if you have all the energy, then it's so much easier to just accomplish your tasks, right? So again, life is so much easier if you have all the energy you want, right? You can pursue your passions, you can be present in your relationship, you can be present in your business, right? Every aspect of your life is going to be better once you dial in your energy. Now, most guys again think that you need to fix your tiredness by sleeping 8 to 9 hours per night. And sure, on the surface, if you're sleeping 4 hours per night, that will obviously drastically improve your energy levels, right? But only if your sleep quality is high. Now, most often, the difference between 6, 7, and 8 isn't noticed that deeply because it ignores the deeper drivers of fatigue, right? So, if your cortisol rhythm is imbalanced, right? If you have poor REM and deep sleep cycles, if you have poor nutrient absorption, right? You have chronic stress or dysregulated dopamine and testosterone rhythms, then no matter how many hours you can sleep, you won't fix it, right? So even with enough hours in your bed, you can still wake up tired. You will still start each day feeling grudgy. It's like this feeling that like some chaos in your mind, right? Like you're not clear. right? You're unmotivated and you're still flipping relying on caffeine and pre-workouts to get you through the day, right? And just pushes you into a loop of low energy, brain fog, and no drive, which just gets worse and worse over the years because you have low energy. Now you're skipping a gym session, becoming more fat, and because you're becoming more fat, your testosterone drops, and because your testosterone drops, you're getting more tired, and this is a negative feedback loop which spirals downwards until you are basically so unhealthy, you're feeling so trash that yeah, you're just stuck. Yeah, now have to rely on medications to get you out of it, and that's basically you're doomed, right? And that's something we're trying to prevent. Now, if you simply just optimize your biology, right, your internal systems, your hormones, and these rhythms, everything will change. So if you fix your cortisol, your dopamine, right, you get them back into their natural rhythm, you won't have morning chaos, right? You will wake up energized, right? You will naturally ensure that your testosterone rises without needing artificial boosters. Because let me tell you one thing which I'm so annoyed about with so many guys online, that if you are using a supplement to get your testosterone up, right? But if you then stop taking the supplement and the testosterone drops again and you feel shit, you did not solve the root cause on why your testosterone is low in the first place, right? So basically, so many people are now hating on the pharmaceutical industry, on governments, and saying that, oh yeah, they are want to keep us sick, and then they go to the supplement industry, right? But then they just take natural medicines. But do you even know that most medicine finds its root in nature, right? Morphine is from like a flower, right? Like a lot of the things in penicillin is from bacteria, right? A lot of stuff in medicine is finds its roots in nature, and supplements are just the more whole food form, right? But it's the same thing. If you now have to rely on a supplement for the rest of your life just to feel okay, like how is that better, right? You don't want to be dependent on external substances to feel great if you can just align your internal systems, right? And if you do that, you have energy stable the entire day without needing caffeine, right? And again, you will just have so much more output with essentially less effort. And you will wake up before your alarm, right? You will wake up with clear headed focus, strong, and just feeling flipping ready for the day. You will train harder, you can recover faster, and you without grinding yourself into the flipping ground, needing boatloads of energy, needing boatloads of motivation, like to hype yourself up, use emotion, anger, whatever to get you through the work. It will just feel natural and just easy, right? And you will finally just feel like yourself again, being sharp, being confident, and just full of drive. You get that fire back you had when you were like 16 years old, right? Where you just life was just easy, right? So you don't need any hacks. You don't need to burn out. You just need to dial in your biology so that will work for you. And that's exactly what you want, right? So basically have high energy all day without having to struggle so hard to get it. Because basically, let's be fair. Who wants to sacrifice their life to technology, random supplements, only to burn out and wear themselves down mentally? Because one of the most important pillars I have for myself and for my clients is that essentially being healthy should not be a full-time job, right? It should be easy, it should be sustainable, and it shouldn't wear yourself out mentally. Because, for example, so many dudes online are now promoting calorie tracking. And yes, I do agree that tracking in the first couple of weeks, if you have no clue on how and calories work and where calories are in and how much a donut is, for example, calorie tracking in the first 2 weeks of your fitness journey can incredibly help you to create awareness around how much calories you're eating throughout the day and then how much calories are in certain type of foods, right? So technology can help in the beginning to create awareness, but who the fuck wants to track their calories every single flipping piece of food for the rest of their life? No one, right? Who the fuck wants to track their sleep every single night for the rest of their life? No one, right? So don't rely on technology, right? Technology can be a good, cool looking tool in the beginning to give you some information. But once you then identified what's going wrong and you solve the issue, you should not make yourself addicted to this technology. Because I have spoken to too many people who are now becoming essentially addicted to ignore this technology, and when they are then not using it, they feel shit. They create like very bad habits with it. Like I spoke to a girl a while back. You got now like a food obsession with calorie tracking. So every time she did not track her calories, she basically got stress. And same thing with like sleep trackers. So the difference between an 85% sleep score and a 95% sleep score is you can't even notice it, right? But if you are now waking up and you see, fuck, I only got 85%, just now because you know it, you can basically feel yourself, like make yourself feel less energized just because you know the data, right? It's like placebo. So use technology to identify what's going wrong and then just get rid of it, because no one wants to do that. Now, to prevent yourself from gambling, right, with your health, and to really understand what's going on with your health, what I'm doing with my clients is that we are running blood test and symptom analysis to uncover what's going wrong, right? So this is just an example of a blood test. Now, in general, we will look at your thyroid, your adrenals, your liver, your kidneys, your gut, basically everything, like your blood values as well, some vitamins, minerals, like basically everything which is important for us to uncover the root cause of your energy shortage. And we pair that with symptom analysis, which basically gives us a very complete overview of everything which is happening in your health. Now, using this data, I then make a personalized protocol for my clients, which just gets them way, way, way quicker from point A, where they're tired, where everything feels like a battle, to point B, where their health is optimized, and we can actually give them a targeted, personalized protocol. Because one thing you have to understand is that everyone is special in a sense, right? So the deficiencies you might have in your body are different from the deficiencies someone else on Instagram has, right? So if you see, perfect example, Paul Saladino, right? You probably know this dude. So the reason why Paul Saladino is promoting his diet is because he specifically has allergies towards nightshade vegetables, which are the group of vegetables related to tomatoes and stuff, right? So he is now promoting a diet which works for him personally, right? But now our people are jumping on the wagon. That's the best diet ever, this and that. But they're missing one crucial piece of information. He adapted his diet to his body. So if you're now looking online for the best diet, for the best uh, supplement, whatever, you have to take into consideration the person, right? So I might take, let's say, zinc, right? Because I had a zinc deficiency or whatever, right? This doesn't mean that zinc is now the best supplement for you to increase your testosterone, right? But by testing it, and this is exactly what saves you so many years, because I did this wrong when I was younger, and that's why I struggled for 8 flipping years. That's why my clients struggled for 8 flipping years. Because if you're doing trial and error, if you're trying supplements and then to see how it affects you, you are just guessing. And yes, you could make a good guess in the beginning and it helps you, but you could also make the wrong guess and then it takes you absolutely years, right? So by doing a blood analysis, by doing symptom analysis, you can uncover the root cause issue of why you're feeling tired and why, for example, your testosterone is low. So if you assume, let's assume you have done your blood test, you have identified your root cause issues, right? We know your symptoms. I am now making a plan for you. So what are now the most important things to finally fix your tiredness? So let's look at this magic, I would say, flask. So this is basically the flask I want you to drink, right? So if you consume this flask, I will fix your tiredness. I will get you testosterone to be sky high, right? So I'm gonna go over what's in this flask, and if you implement what I'm saying exactly from this flask, then I almost guarantee you that you can solve your tiredness and boost your testosterone, right? Now, so once the results are in, the symptoms are analyzed, and we now know exactly what's going on, then this is what we're going to do. So again, here we have the bucket, right? So this is the explanation I talked about. We have the disease bucket, we have the health bucket. We now basically know that we are losing our ATP uh, to health, like to diseases, leaky gut, adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, congested liver, whatever. Right now, so just get slightly deeper here. Is now your mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, meaning that your mitochondria produces ATP, right? And then that ATP is getting used by our body. So either for to fuel our body for energy or to fuel the immune cell function, right? So basically that's how these buckets are made up, right? And when there's inflammation caused by gut issues, liver congestion, stress, you polluting yourself with a bad diet, your lifestyle, right? Then a lot of this energy goes to the inflammation, right? Which means that you won't get it into the health bucket, which you need to optimize your energy levels. So it is important to understand this because that's the reason why most likely you feel tired. So this is the first place to look. So how we can prevent inflammation in your body and prevent your body from stop putting energy into the disease bucket. So that's the first pill you need to swallow. Then the second pill is understanding that sleep duration is not sleep quality. Now, let's look at this graph where we typically see the like the red line is the line which is good sleep quality, and what we see here is we have uh, four phases of REM sleep, and in the REM sleep, your mind actually the REM sleep is important for dealing with stress, mental issues, preparing your body mentally for the next day, right? So when the brain fog is there, you have probably a REM sleep issue. Now, the non-REM phases are where your body physically recovers. So non-REM is again, which is where your body physically recovers, where testosterone is produced, where muscles are repaired, where your gut issues are resolved, and the REM phases are where you're mentally recover, right? So when you can feel sharp, brain fog stuff, when you actually wake up energized. Now, what happens with most people is that they have this cycle, so the dotted cycle, right? They fall asleep like pretty slowly, which means that they never actually enter the very deep phases of sleep where their body physically recovers. Means that their body cannot optimally produce testosterone or repair muscle damage, right? Or your gut issues as well. So here in this scenario, your gut won't get healed as quickly, your muscle won't be healed as quickly, or your testosterone will be produced. And they have some REM sleep, but it's pretty shallow, right? Pretty short, which means that next day they will wake up with more stress, more brain fog, feel less clear, and the rest of the day is gonna be a battle, right? And the chances are that they wake up in the middle of the night or wake up too early. So yeah, they could sleep, but then you wake up tired. And this is essentially what we want. And again, you see here, doesn't even have to be 8 or 9 hours, right? But it has to be 7 hours of quality sleep. So the more quality, deep, restful sleep you get, the better it is to solve your tiredness. Now, again, this is a little bit the explanation of what I just told you. So the light sleep phases help just with information processing. The deep sleep phase helps with growth hormone, right, to restore your body to producing of testosterone. And the REM sleep helps with memory, coordination, creativity, helps to restore your mind and just learning phases, right? Now, this is the second pill you need to swallow. Sleep duration is not sleep quality. You need to optimize for sleep quality. So why is now our sleep quality so trash last couple of years? So obviously I think some of these are familiar with you, but the biggest one, this is the first one you need to eliminate, is using your phone in bed or in the bedroom for that matter. So a very quick win here is just an hour before bed, remove your phone, right? Let's say, then pretty simple. Literally just remove your phone. Use a old alarm clock as your alarm clock. Don't even keep your phone in your bedroom. That's I think the most easy practical tip you can do. Don't keep your phone in the bedroom, right? Because that just gives you too much stress, right? So a lot of the conversations nowadays are on blue light, on how blue light is disrupting your sleep, which is true. But the reason why it's worse than that is that most often you're doom scrolling when you're in bed. You're TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, answering emails. You are not allowing your brain to actually calm down. You're just giving it more sensations, more things to think about, right? When you want less things to think about, you basically want to wind the fuck down. So keep your sleep, your phone out of the bedroom. Now, same thing, social media is just fucking up your brain. It's ruining your serotonin levels, it's ruining your dopamine, it's ruining your cortisol. It is actually making you dumber, right? Because you're training your brain to always go for easy solutions, which are social media. So you always will prefer opening social media instead of completing hard tasks, right? Which actually makes you dumber in the long run. And you're training, um, yeah, you're just dysregulating your dopamine levels incredibly. And these are so important for stable energy because if your dopamine is dysregulated, your stress levels will go up, right? Here again. So because it's basically like if you're sitting behind a gambling casino, like in a casino, right? You're just pressing a button, and then once every while you get like a reward, a good video, but all the other like are shitty, and it just gives your mind so much stress. Because what you have to understand here, this is maybe a piece of information you do not know, is we are essentially animals, and our brain is developed to protect us, right? And how does it protect us? So we as humans, we are so smart because we developed a skill which is called pattern recognition, right? Our brain makes neural connections, so we recognize patterns, right? So if you touch the stove when the fire is on and you burn your fingers, you're gonna know that next time you won't touch the stove when it's on, right? But your brain is doing this for everything. So if you are consuming 100 pieces of content in an hour, your brain is trying to remember 100 pieces of content in an hour. And guess what happens then? Your brain gets overloaded because that's just too much flipping information. It can't keep up with it. And that results in you laying in bed having those racing thoughts. And you know what I'm talking about. You're literally laying in bed and like you can just feel your brain shooting shit, right? So that's just how you are overloading your rhythm, right? Now, multitasking is also a very big issue. Um, People are doing too much. They're taking their work with them home, right? So I'm coaching a lot of entrepreneurs as well. And a very common issue with them is that they just keep working from morning to night. There is no period where they do not work, right? They wake up with their work, they go to bed with their work, and because they go to bed with their work, their mind is just on. They're thinking about problems, they're thinking about ideas, right? Their body cannot recover. So you should create a proper wind down routine. So let's say after 6, you're just done. Like after 6, no more, you can't work, won't answer the phone call from your boss. After 6, you are completely done with work. Now, we are misaligned with nature. 95% of the time, people are inside. The only time they are outside is when they wake up, walk to their car, and drive to work, and then maybe 15 minutes in the like in the afternoon, and then the same cycle from when they drive home from the work, and then like that's the only time they're outside, right? And we are animals, and I don't like to make this worse than this, but we are pretty flipping simple. We have developed evolutionary to live outside, to be in the fresh air, to be in the sun, right? To touch grass, right? But we have not do that. We have been isolating ourselves inside. And I'm not saying to you that you should now be walking barefoot and hugging trees and whatever, but just the simplest thing ever is just go outside for a walk 2 times, 3 times per day. It's not that difficult. In the morning, in the afternoon, at night, like just expose yourself to nature more often, and we are not doing it. Like the very simple thing, because again, most people are chronically stressed, which ruins sleep quality. Um, if you spend 15 minutes outside in the area around nature, your cortisol drops by at least 20%. right? Seeing natural sunlight can significantly improve your likelihood of having higher sleep quality, right? So if your sleep rhythm is misaligned, seeing the sunset or the sundown is one of the biggest hacks for your sleep quality. Now, almost there, your blood flow. The reason your sleep quality is shit is because you're sedentary, right? So you might go to the gym every day, but if you're sitting still the entire day, right, not moving, not making sure the blood is flowing, your sleep quality is gonna be decreased. Because again, we talked about how your mitochondria, right, are important for producing energy. Now, if your blood is very slowly flowing, this energy is just not reaching the cells which need it, right? But if your blood is flowing, it's fast, you're moving, you're walking, you're doing squats, pull-ups, push-ups, whatever, your blood is flowing, your heart is pumping, and all the cells which need energy are then getting the nutrients it needs, right? But you're just sitting still, and that's why so many people they just can't fall asleep at night because their body is just wired, right? It's very stupid. Like you think because my body is tired, I am feeling tired throughout the day, that I will fall asleep easier at night, which is not the case, right? So if you feel very energized throughout the day, it's very much more likely that you will feel fall asleep at night because your body just is being it's doing what it's supposed to be, and obviously processed food. I don't even have to give you a rant about it. If you're consuming food outside the food matrix, which is this whole food form, right? Processed food in generally is pre-chewed, right? It's pre-chewed food. It does not reach your large colon, which is important because if food reaches the large colon, it will signal to your body that it's full, right? You will have more stable energy levels throughout the day, and processed food in general does not reach it because it just already is processed before it hits the small intestines, right? So just skip processed food. I don't even want to give you a rant about why you need to do that. Now, what most of my clients and I were doing wrong in general, because again, I was already eating healthy, I was already pretty disciplined, right? What's happening is that most people start their day very strong, but end them weak, right? So you start your day off because at the end of the day, you have willpower, you have discipline, right? You wake up, you're going for a run, you're going for a workout, you are dialing in your diet because at the end of the night, like when the days goes on, you're tired at 5, right? And now because you're tired, you're hungry, you don't have that much willpower anymore, you're snacking, right? You're taking a processed snack, you're slightly spending more time on your phone, watching television, maybe indulging in porn or whatever, right? And this now ruins your sleep. So the next day you enter this same cycle. So you got to start strong, but you also got to end strong. And the problem is in the beginning, obviously, if you're tired, you can start strong because your willpower is pretty high, but you will end weak because your willpower is lower because you're so flipping tired. But in the beginning, you have to kind of overcome this, right? So the first couple of days, you're gonna still be tired, but once you fixed it, bro, your energy is gonna skyrocket. So be aware of that. In the beginning, you will have the tendency to end weak, but you have to use force to keep yourself on track. And once you have done this for 3, 4 days in a row, I guarantee you, your tiredness can be solved immediately, right? Now, how can you now actually fix your sleep quality? First things first, is walk. Walk as much as you can. So what I like to do, and this is the easiest thing ever. This is great for multiple reasons. Is wake up, immediately go for a walk. 10 minutes, 50 minutes, however how long you like it doesn't really matter. Expose yourself to the sun, right? And this does two things. First, it helps your body to recognize the sun, which resets your circadian rhythm because your skin actually notices it. And there are genes in our body, actually true, clock genes, which are aligned with circadian rhythm. So our body is now noticing the sun rise, which helps you eventually reset your sleep schedule, right? And once your sleep schedule is consistent, your sleep quality will go up. But aligning your body with circadian rhythm, or at least having a sleep time which is consistent by exposing yourself to the morning sun by walking, helps like immensely, right? And this does multiple things. Because you're walking, you're also getting your blood flowing, right? And because you're doing something immediately, you are a little bit spiking your cortisol in the morning, which is good, right? You want a cortisol spike in the morning because cortisol is high in the morning because it wakes you up, and then throughout the day it lowers until it's at really low, and then your melatonin rises, and then you fall asleep. Now, got coffee, right? So in general, a cup of coffee is healthy for you, but keep it like at max at two, right? And the last cup of coffee, depending on when you go to bed, but a very easy rule of thumb is that it should be consumed 8 hours before bed. So if you're sleeping at 10, the last piece of coffee you can drink is at 2, right? At 11, at 3, at 12, at 4, etc. So in general, don't drink coffee after 2. Drink enough water. Really, for some people, it's actually pretty dumb. Uh, they are just not drinking enough water, right? And on that note, I'm gonna drink some water. But really, sometimes the reason that you have brain fog, you feel tired, is because you're just not drinking enough water. So drink at least 3 liters of water every day. I suggest you just wake up, and this is what I'm doing, and just immediately chug like zero point 0.5 to a liter of water immediately with some electrolytes. So that's pretty easy. And the rest of the day, just consume water. You'll easily get it, right? So drink some water. Now, work out. So if you work out during the day, you will feel more tired at night, right? And again, this pairs perfectly with movement. So in general, the more you move throughout the day, the more tired you're going to be at night, which will help you in your sleep, right? So your sleep is going to be deeper. So make sure to work out and to walk to get your steps in 10,000 steps, or like 3 walks per day. Now, a diet rich in whole foods. I'm not going to go into too much depth here about what exactly you should eat, but obviously you want to have stable energy throughout the day, right? I'm working with a lot of entrepreneurs. They want stable, high energy and focus throughout the day. So what you should do to make this very easy for you is the first meal of your day should be high in protein, high in fat, and some fiber. Why? Because this enables your body to slowly absorb the protein, because there's also some fiber, right? And then slowly gives you energy throughout the day. So when you start your day with a very big protein, fat, fiber rich meal, I guarantee you, you will feel full and have energy till like 2, 3 in the afternoon, right? And that's important. You want to have a diet which fuels for energy, stable energy, focus, performance. And this is exactly what I'm doing with the MAD diet. That's exactly what we're doing in our coaching. We're making a tailored plan to your blood work, to your personal needs. So, natural high energy, testosterone, hormonal function, brain focus is a outcome of this diet. Now, just focus protein, fiber, and some fat in the morning, then that will solve most of your issues. And at night, incorporate some carbs, because carbs will replenish your glycogen stores, which helps with sleep quality. Now, there are some things you can do pre-bed to incorporate in your wind down routine, which will significantly improve your sleep quality. Now, again, one of the biggest mistakes I always see is what I told you about. Oh, where is it? Here, taking your work and your busyness to bed, right? So don't do that. So what you should do is create a wind down routine which involves the following stuff. And let's say a safe bet is 1 hour before you go to bed. Uh, Start this routine. So know again, if you want to sleep 8 hours per night, you need to be in bed for more than 8 hours per night, because you want to fall asleep takes roughly 15 minutes, right? So if you want to sleep 8 hours per night, be in bed for 8 hours and 30 minutes. Now, how does a good pre-bed routine look? So an hour before bed, you start by avoiding all screens, right? So remove your TV, your tablet, your laptop, your phone, cut it off, right? ensure that you're now doing something which relaxes you. This can be whatever you like: stretching, meditation, a walk outside, a hot shower, reading, journaling, planning your day ahead in paper, having sex with your partner, right? Whatever helps you to calm the fuck down, right? So you have just have to experiment with this and just figure out what works best for you. Now, when you're then actually in bed, and also 1 hour before you go to bed, you can also wear blue light blocker, but this isn't of the highest necessity unless you're actually living in like a very big ass light bulb house. If you have a lot of LEDs in your house, just put them off, right? A very easy rule of thumb which prevents you from having to wear this is just uh, remove all lights from above, right? So you see a lamp there at the, how to say it, the ceiling. Just put it off, right? Just have lights at the bottom, or like red lights or whatever. Right now, how you can ensure that your sleep quality is good throughout the night is ensuring that your room is cold. Um, I obviously do not have this, so what I always used to do is, again, I'm just taking a very hot shower before I go to bed, so my body just dumps heat. Then I can lower my heat quicker, falling asleep quicker, right? But if you can, make sure your room temperature is below 68 Fahrenheit or 20 degrees. And then during sleep, if you want to stay asleep as deeply as possible, you want to minimize sounds and light, right? So if you have blackout curtains, then you don't need to wear a sleep mask. But if you live in, let's say, in a city near a road, for example, it's always handy to wear earplugs, right? So these can be some very good habits to fix your sleep quality. Now, the ultimate hack to fixing your sleep quality, and I already briefly went over it, is to align your body with the circadian rhythm, right? Because our body, we are fucking animals. We developed for hundreds of thousands of years using the sun, right? The rotation of the sun around the earth. Our body literally developed using the sun, and now all of a sudden we are not doing that and deviating from it, and we are wondering why we feel trash. Like, nature has always given us the best blueprint. So you have to align your body with the circadian rhythm, because overall that's the best thing ever. If you don't know, you can just screenshot this, because also here you can kind of see when it's best for testosterone focus, working out, but that's something else. Now, I already briefly told you we have developed using the circadian rhythm, and we even can see this inside our body because we have clock genes. And clock genes are literally what it says. These are genes which serve as a clock for our fucking body, right? So our muscles have these genes when, so they know when to be active. Our brain has these genes, our gut has these genes. Every single part in our body has clock genes which activate when it's aligned with circadian rhythm. So it's so important to align your body with circadian rhythm, because studies show that whenever your body is misaligned, right? Because let's say take shift workers, you are at risk of so many more chronic diseases, cancer, mental illnesses, and you name it, right? So our body is literally evolved to be aligned with the circadian rhythm. Don't forget that. Now, a study done by Harvard by some students found that the what is it? Yeah, the sleep duration. So if you are more consistent with your sleep durations, and your sleep duration is above 7 hours, so if you're consistent and above 7 hours, that you will experience the highest sleep quality, leading to you having higher testosterone, having more energy, having better gut health, having better focus, better brain recovery, right? Because everything restores overnight. Your brain restores, your body recovers, your gut, your internal systems, your testosterone, all of these things are produced overnight. So if you are consistent with your sleep schedule, right, then over time you will experience the most benefit. So if you sleep 6 one day, then 8 the other, and 4 the next, and you sleep at all random times, your body will never fully have good sleep quality. So if you keep it consistent, even throughout the weekends, you will experience the biggest increase. Now, and this is the part that nobody talks about. Again, our body, our biology is on a clock, right? Our hormones, our digestion, your alertness, your recovery, everything follows the circadian rhythm. Everything has to do with energy. Go against the rhythm, you will pay in tiredness, stress, and broken sleep. But when you align it, you will recover faster, you will build muscle easier, and you will wake up energized so you don't have to grind so flipping hard. So all of this, right? All of this stuff isn't about doing more, right? It's about syncing your rhythm with your body, and then your body knows what to do. So if you're still here, right? This isn't just a random video to you. It's probably something you have been struggling with for years, and I just want you to know this. I fixed it. Stein fixed it, right? It's not impossible. And right now, a whole group of my clients are walking proof of that. They are fixing this as we speak. And you can turn this around too in a matter of weeks, not years, right? But only if you stop guessing. Because essentially, that's the real problem here. Because most guys aren't lazy. Most guys do not lack discipline or motivation or willpower. They are just stuck guessing their way through life, too stubborn to seek help, too stubborn that they just want to do it by themselves. And I know that because I was that guy. Stein was that guy, right? You always think that you will be able to fix it yourself, but then it costs you years. And you can figure it out. Don't get me wrong, you can figure it out, but again, you will have wasted years, and there are so many more important things than doing that, right? Money cannot buy back your time. So most guys are just trying random protocols, supplements, routines without actually a symptom that actually ties it back together and actually fits them, right? And that's exactly what I do in my coaching. So we bring back precision. We look at symptoms. We look at your blood so we can actually make you a tailored program, a tailored precision system protocol so you can finally function like that high performing man you're supposed to be with energy, with clarity, with drive to finally get that fire back when you were younger, right? So if any of this hit, just book a free discovery call. No pressure, no bullshit. I will just go deep and explain to you what's holding you back and how we can fix it fast, right? So without wasting another more year, we're gonna look at how we can actually get you back on track, right? So if you're not ready to book yet, for the love of yourself, don't let this be another video you just liked or not even liked, just watched and forgot. Just pick some of the pills in this video, apply them tonight or today, and maybe in a few weeks you will be messaging me like, bro, I got my edge back. Ciao.